There we go.
What's good? What's good? It's your boy DJ Avo, and this is Dynasty Bros Fantasy Football Podcast, episode 97, 99, 100. Who knows? Let's go.
What's good, Brodies and Bays? This is the Dynasty Bros Fantasy Football Podcast, episode 82. And this is where you come for all your fantasy football needs and chop it up about the latest NFL news. I am Dynasty Bro Dot here with my co-bro.
We got Dynasty Bro Vic, a.k.a. Chief Sosa FF, because that sounds a little bit more cooler than Dynasty Bro Vic.
Hey, at what episode number do you think Avo is finally going to get it right?
Probably never. He did get it right once, but it was a while
and
back.
We didn't like it.
It threw the whole vibe off. But we back.
We back with the sauce, and we back live. And we are back with another special guest. The lovely, the smart, the handsome. Can you be handsome?
Yeah, I'll take it. Sure, why not?
Throw in talented and popular. She's popular on Twitter.
I the like first time in my life I've been popular at anything.
Way past due.
Nah.
We got Miss Casey Kasem in the building. How are you doing today?
Oh man, I am wonderful. Thank you guys for having me.
No doubt. Love the energy. So look, before we get into the resume, because Vic always lets me walk down all of our guests' fantasy football resume and real life resume, I'm gonna give you a platform for however long you need. Give about 30 to 45 seconds to tell the good people, what do you do? Like, what does the world know you for? And why are you so popular on Twitter? Go on and tell our listeners that right now. You have the platform.
Well, it's probably because I'm old. I've been I've been on Twitter forever, so that's the only reason why people follow me in the first place is because I've been there for forever. I don't know. They follow me for, I don't know. Really, honestly, I just am a crazy person. So, that's what I put out there in the world. And I guess people flock to that kind of stuff.
All right.
You fit right on in with us. So you good.
Okay. So that's real life what you do. So what do you contribute to the fantasy community right now? So our listeners can know that too.
For sure. So right now, I write over with the fantasy footballers, and I have a podcast called Get Real with Casey Kasem, where I sit down with fantasy analysts and kind of just, chop it up with them and, learn more about the industry and their personal lives.
We got to get on that one day.
For sure. That would be dope. That would be so cool. For sure.
Only if I'm cool enough.
You're cool enough.
If we're popular enough.
You guys are soups popular.
I'll take it.
Your hands up. Hey, if I like you guys, you got something going, right?
We'll take it. We appreciate that.
I'll take that.
Likewise, too. So we definitely
love
what you're doing as well. So.
All right. So look, what we're going to do, we got a fire episode. We're going to get into these wide receiver prospects coming out of college. All three of us have two, and we tried to shy away from the obvious ones, the Jamar Chase, Devonta Smith, just the guys going on the top end, and we tried to get the back end guys, when you're going into the back end of your first, early second round, and then just some flyers that we like in general, man. So that's what we're going to bring to you guys. We also have some flags on the play. Vic already let me know he got a couple, so I love that energy. Really no injuries going on. We still have the hood TMZ with Dynasty Bro Vic, and we're going to get into the closing. So we have a fire episode. So before we get into all of that, Casey, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
We got a resume. I'm going to walk you down. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start with real life football. I'm going to ask you questions. Like, hey, have you ever played? What'd you play? What position? How long did you play? And then we'll swap over and go straight to fantasy. I'll ask you some of those questions. How long you been playing? How many championships? How many leagues you're in. So that's what we're going to do. That's the fantasy resumes. We do that with every guest. So
sweet.
we got some good ones. So it's going to be hard to top, but let's see where you go. All right. Casey, have you ever played any real life football in your career?
No, I was not a football player. I did athletics. I did sports in high school. But football was not on my radar.
I know. Football's kind of male dominated, but while you hear somebody tell me there've been some flag football stuff.
I ran track because I was fast back in the day before I put on a bunch of weight. And so no football though.
There you go. Wait, let's pause. What events in track?
The 4x1, the 4x2, the 100 meter, 200 meter, and long jump.
Nice. So you was an athlete for sure.
Yeah, back in the day, and now ain't happening.
Hey, once an athlete, always an athlete.
Okay.
I actually ran some track too. So I did the 4x1, 4x4, and 4x8. So they call me the utility man. So I ran the slowest leg on each race, but I could do all the races.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's all you need, really.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, that's good. That's good. So you was in the sports. I know the availability for football wasn't there.
Yeah.
So we'll skip on and fast forward past the real life football, but I'm excited to talk fantasy football with you.
Alrighty.
So how long have you been involved in fantasy football in general? Just league wise.
I've been involved since 2012, I think is the year that I started playing.
Okay. So that means you were able to draft some guys and grow with some guys. Do you have a favorite fantasy football player that you had for a long time, or he's won you some leagues multiple years? Have you had one since you've been in fantasy for about 9 years now?
Yeah, I'll remember having Jamal Charles. I always remember that because I mean, it was nice when he was on. Ooh, boy, those were some fun games to watch.
I'm not gonna lie, he won me my first. Our friends, we ran a fantasy league for a while, and he won me my first fantasy championship amongst my bros the year he put up those. Wasn't it like 6 touchdowns? And he had so many catches. It was like,
oh man,
amount of points that week.
He was like the Christian McCaffrey back in the day, back then, during that era at least.
Easy,
doing it all. So
easy. Sure. Okay, how many fantasy football leagues are you in right now?
So I'm not in very many. I'm in 4 Dynasty and 1 redraft, and then any of the charity leagues like Scott Fish if I get in or whatever. But yeah, I've stepped back from a lot of leagues that I wasn't really paying as much attention to as I wanted to. So a lot of people were adding more during COVID and being quarantined, and I was taking them back and saying, "Nah, somebody else can take over this orphan."
This guy, he probably took over every league you let go.
Probably, yeah. There were a few of them.
Going into last offseason, Vic was like, "Man, I swear I'm scaling down."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened. He called me every other day, joining another league. I was like, "This man tripping."
I'm still rocking. So I'm up to I'm in the mid-20s. It's all good when they're all in one spot. So most of them are on sleeper. I got some on
that's
my fantasy league. So it helps.
That's the problem when they're not on the same format, or in the same app or whatever. I got 12 different ones. I don't have time to sit here and try to remember my passwords or how many leagues do I have, and do I have any leagues in, so yeah, I'm not about that life. And I'm 37, so I got to remember to take my medication. I don't have time to sit there.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. This is a heads up for everybody's leagues I'm in. If it's not sleeper, man, I can't make no promises no more going forward. I can't do my fantasy league and then opening the ESPN app and then opening the sleeper app.
Yes.
It's just starting to get too
it's a mess, yeah.
It is. Yeah.
All right, so that's that. So I heard you mention the Scott Fish Bowl. Me and Vic got in as analysts for our first year in it, man. And we're excited. We had a fire squad. Dak went down early. I feel like
I had him too.
Sorry that happened your way too, man.
Yeah.
But I see you are a 6-time Scott Fish Bowl participant.
Yeah, I've been doing that. I got in as a fan, so I probably played more as a fan than an analyst. But yeah, I won a spot in from Her Fantasy Football back in the day when they had a podcast, and the rest is history, I guess.
That's fire. Congrats. How far? What's the furthest you got in the Scott Fish Bowl?
Sheesh. I've gotten pretty far, you make it to the playoffs, I got a bye finally. But then your team decides it's going to crap out on you.
Yeah, we know how that goes. We had our ups and downs, but we made it. We made it through.
There you go.
Hopefully we're back next year. So hopefully we're not co-GMing because I want my own team.
Yeah,
for sure.
Me too. Because
I'm tired of co-GMing.
I know. Me telling him let's get James Robinson was the worst decision that I made in Scott Fish Bowl.
We actually picked him up. I think we added him. Right? Whatever. Yeah, we're back. So yeah.
All right. So that's that. So outside of fantasy, I do have one more question to wrap up your resume, and this is the one I'm most excited about. I'm not gonna lie. I see.
Yeah, I already know what you're gonna say, but go ahead.
What's up with this freestyle rapper?
How did I know that? It's like it's like a party trick, like I'm not like super great
That's
at it, but when you
really-
see a white girl, at least rhyming words, you're like, whoa. So especially when you got some drinks in you, and people are like, yeah, this is great, even if it's not. So yeah.
I'm going to ask my brothers for 50 seconds the floor to talk about freestyle rapping. Can I have it?
Bro,
Please, 50
I
seconds.
was about to
All right,
say
look.
to do it.
So look, this is what I'll say about anybody. I did music. Avo knows it. That was my DJ forever. I hated people who were artists that were afraid to freestyle rap because at the end of the day, it's just a random art form. I don't judge your artistry off freestyling. It's fun. We're supposed to enjoy it and play around with it. I used to be around people that act like it was going to kill them to freestyle for 10 seconds. It was like, nah, I suck. Man, we probably all suck. Some are better than others, but it's just a fun art form when it comes to making music and rapping. So I respect you for even if it is under a couple of drinks, I respect you for going out there freestyling. You got even more respect in my eyes. Heads up, Casey.
Thanks. I did a 3-hour freestyle for Scott Fishbowl to get money for the charity and do all of that. So Fantasy Cares hooked that up. And all that.
If you ever need a freestyle buddy to help you raise some bread or anything, give me a call.
For sure, dude. I'm probably gonna do one closer to like when the Scott Fishbowl starts up. So I will definitely let you know.
Tell us what we need to do and we there. Let's go.
Give me a holler. I got some bars.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
They got it. It depends on my mood.
But when he does get it, Casey, he get it.
You get it. There you go. You get in the zone, right? You start just spacing out and you're just like, I got it. You're just like in the zone.
That's how it is. Whenever I get out my own way, sometimes you gotta get out your own way.
Yep.
All right, true that. So what we're going to do is we're going to transition into one of my favorite segments of the episode, and it is the Hood TMZ with Dynasty Bro Vic. And if you didn't know, Casey, this is where Vic goes throughout his week finding random news that are happening in the NFL or even in the culture just in general, and he brings it here. He cites his source and then act like it's still his, and we just flip it into our own. So that's the TMZ with Dynasty Bro Vic.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. I mean, I'm sure you guys heard a lot of this stuff on ESPN and NFL Network all day, but we want to give it to you raw and filter in terms of not all that button up stuff that you hear all day. So we put like some real life day-to-day, input feedback on it. So that's the goal, but we're going to be in and out. That's the goal always with what's the word. So 3 quick things. Shout out to Schefter, Adam Schefter on Twitter, and then also NFL.com. They actually announced it's official. So we will now have 17 games. So regular season will see 17 games, which now extends it to 18 weeks. So how do you guys feel about that? Extending the regular season to 17 games, putting an extra game out there.
I mean, if I was Alvin Kamara and I had my Twitter account blowing up about how pissed off I was about it. Now, I think this is going to change like a lot of stuff when it comes to fantasy, real football, all of the, because you gotta plan differently, and guys get worn out and you got to just kind of like keep an eye on all your players, especially towards that end, because they're not used to it. So, yeah.
Yeah, that taking shots on flyers instead of adding just for sure depth, that's probably going to change this year. Where the fantasy championship week is going to be extended one more week now, so that's going to be different. Man, I don't know, stats don't matter no more, man. This is fluky. They have an extra game to pat their stats when it comes to records. Get all these stats off the books going forward, man, because I don't like it. Like, whatever's going forward, you can't compare it to what somebody did last year. You had an extra game. But I'm interested. I'm not going to get mad at more football, but I do hope that these guys still go out there and play 100% and they don't feel some type of way and go out there and just play at a certain percentage to make sure they can get through that extra game in those extra weeks. So.
I don't think the records are going to change that much. And I can tell you the only reason why, because in other sports, when things change, they just kind of call it by that era. So this will just be forever known as the 16-game era. Like, and that's just what it's going to be. That's just because they did the same thing in basketball, like before the 3-point line.
True.
So, like, that's all it's going to be. They're still going to count records. So, like, if somebody breaks a record within 16 games, that's still going to be a thing.
Yeah, I looked at it from the financial side. So when you got guys like Pat Mahomes getting $500 million, I mean, you got to add that extra game from a revenue standpoint. So from that viewpoint, from a fantasy side, I can see a lot of these championships transitioning to, how you play 2 weeks around. So maybe the championship will go out that way. Maybe it's a one round for the previous rounds, and then when you get to championship week, maybe you got to do a 2-week championship, week 16, week 17. Just throwing out some ideas, but I could see definitely leagues getting creative around how you handle the championship, whether you go straight through or you play 2 weeks.
True.
Right on.
All right, so let's keep it pushing. All right, of course, we saw a big trade go down, blockbuster deal. So the 49ers acquired the third overall pick in the NFL draft. So what do you guys think they're going to do with that? Of course, a lot of pro days are going on, especially this week. So what do you guys think the Niners are going to do with that third overall pick? Let's start with you, Casey. Any thoughts?
Well, I mean, if you go by what they're saying, then yeah, they moved up to get a quarterback, right? It would be really funny if they took Kyle Pitts right there, and then you had these two big tight ends. No, I'm just kidding. In a crazy world, that would happen, though. I could see that happening. But when I was looking at moving up to get quarterbacks, I mean, hopefully they can do better at it than the last 10 years of what we've been seeing with other teams. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I seen Twitter going nuts talking about how stupid they would be if they moved up to grab Mac Jones. But my thing is, I'm not mad at that, man. I'm not mad at it because if you scouted your guy and that's your guy, you go get your guy. And everybody loves Kyle Shanahan, and we talk about how great creative of an offensive mind that he is. If he went and got Mac Jones, maybe he's seen something that we slightly didn't see. And if he goes to get Justin, then cool. But it's like, you can't knock that man for moving up to get who he wants. So clearly he's going to go get a quarterback, because if he did all that, moved all the pieces to go get anything else but a quarterback, that team is crazy. That franchise is crazy.
Yeah, and if you guys watched Alabama's Pro Day today, of course, you had Shanahan and John Lynch there on the sideline checking out Mac Jones. Of course, they show some facial expressions and reactions, but you can't really take that at the surface level. You never know what they were talking about or what happened for the camera pan to those guys. So, I mean, they're definitely interested in Mac Jones, so they got to check him out live. Also, Justin Fields had his pro day as well. If you ask me, I still have Justin Fields as the number 2 quarterback prospect. I know some folks have Zach Wilson. So, yeah, it's just, it's one of those things where you just go get your guys. So we'll see.
And Justin ran a 4.43 today.
He did.
I think they traded up for an O-line. Got to make sure your O-line is good.
You never know. And we all know Kittle loves Jimmy G, so you just never know. But we'll see how that plays out. And, of course, the Dolphins, they actually have the number 6 overall pick. So there's been a lot of question marks around Tua, especially in the dynasty land. Casey, what are your thoughts there? What do you think the Dolphins are going to do with that number 6 pick?
Honestly, I'm not. The Dolphins are so freaking tricky to me because I feel like they're good. They're just not. They haven't done anything to push them over that edge yet. I think Tua's going to be their. They're going to be. That's going to be their guy for right now. We'll see. I mean, you can't just base. If we gave up on quarterbacks after 1 year every year, then sorry, it's just not how it's going to work. So, I'm not really sure. I'd like to see them get some more offensive weapons. Just, not churning the same kind of like middle of the pack guys over and over, those type of guys. So,
yeah. Well, scooting back lets me know that they trust Tua for this year. And I think moving back up pretty much locks in Jamar being a superstar receiver. Or I could see Cal just because he's going to be a Hall of Fame style tight end, long as up. But I feel like that's what you move back up for, to go get another piece for your guy too.
All right. Well, what I would like to see, I like them bring in a skill player, a wide receiver. I'm vouching for Devontae Smith. That's my wide receiver 1 coming in. And I agree with you, Casey. They definitely need to give Tua some time. So. People got to keep in mind, especially in the dynasty land, like Tua's first week of action was like week 8. So he was already 8 games behind compared to like a Joe Burrow and all these other rookies. Justin Herbert, who got to start week 1 due to an injury, I believe, to Tyrod. So, yeah, I mean, you definitely want to shoot your guys' confidence out the gate. So give them some time to groom and build around them and see what you got. So I definitely like the call. Hopefully they go skill player there.
How awkward is that reunion after Devonta Smith said he preferred Mac Jones over Tua?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Devonta got to keep in mind, Tua did toss him that touchdown pass his freshman year, the game winner. So when he took Hurt's spot.
Did that make Smith look better or Tua look better? I think that made Tua look better.
It did. I would say on that. He came in off the bench, won the game, at least locked up the championship for him. So keep that in mind too. All right, one more spot that I want to talk about. So the Eagles, they actually landed the number 12 pick, so they scooted back. Of course, they got Jalen Hurts there. Again, Dynasty land, there's a lot of question marks if the Eagles are going to commit to Jalen Hurts. My opinion, I feel like they are, at least at the moment. Similar to a Tua situation, you got to trust a young guy. So, Casey, what are your thoughts there with that number 12 pick for the Eagles?
Man, I don't care. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Make sure you're not a Cowboys
fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. Yeah. I don't know anything. If they could do anything to not get better, that'd be pretty dope. There. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Well, how about this?
Cowboys Eagles rivalry is real.
I know we speak a lot from the fantasy point of view, but I'll tell you this. I'm not the biggest fan of Jalen Hurts in real life, so I don't care what they add with him. Scooting back means they trust him for this year. Yeah, at least you guys are gonna get to beat up on them this year, because I don't think Jalen Hurts leads that team to too many wins. It's my opinion.
We'll see. I like Jalen in fantasy. NFL, I think he has a shot. So really, they just need to beef up that old line. So hopefully they build that interior, give him some time. And then we'll just see how it goes. But obviously, there was a lot of dysfunction within that organization, from the head coaching staff to the GMs. Now they're starting to sort all that stuff out. So hopefully it's a clear picture. We can have a better understanding of what the Eagles are trying to accomplish.
And since I got Casey back, the Eagles is trash. I hope they 0 for this year. Man. I got your back, Casey.
Hey, Thank you.
That's his squad.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Dan likes – hey, the Eagles sad. Dan.
It is what it is.
He knows.
Oh, man. That's all I'm going to say. Go, Coach. That's my squad. So. All right, one last thing, then we'll get out of here. So shout out to Patrick Mahomes. He's going to partner with the HBCU Legacy Bowl. Basically, it's an all-star game for the historically black college universities. It's going to be played the Saturday after the Super Bowl down in New Orleans. So hopefully we can tap into that, go down there and check out some of these guys who are hoping to get, at least drafted one day. So that's going to be something to look forward to. The NFL Network's going to broadcast it. So shout out to the HBCUs and Pat Mahomes.
True. Love it.
All right, that's all I got for What's the Word. You guys want to add anything else before we get to the flag on the plays?
I just want to say that sounds like a really awesome experience, especially that it's going to be in New Orleans. Like, geez, that's going to be tight.
I've never been to New Orleans. Have you ever been?
Oh, yeah. We went there for our probably about a month before we got married. So we took all our bridesmaids and went and had our bachelorette party there. That was pretty dope.
Nice. My wife's been down there. She still to this day keeps talking about the food. So I got to get some of that Cajun.
Yeah, that's good.
Cajun food.
So I've been to New Orleans, and little advice: if it says bottomless, don't go in. Don't go in.
What does bottomless?
What does that mean?
It's not what you think. It's not for straight men. Bottomless. No bottoms.
No.
Like for real.
For real. Hey man, I was 18 when I went. We were so excited. Ooh, bottomless. That's dope.
I thought they meant drinks. Like
bottomless drinks. You also should watch out for those.
Yeah. That's want to give that little piece of advice.
What's good, Troy? Troy popping.
Troy.
Man, what's up?
T-Roy.
We gotta get Troy on here. But he's scaling back right now. He just put a post out there, so maybe we'll find a window to get Troy.
Yeah, you'll get him. He's fine. He'll be fine.
That's another popular guy on Twitter. So
how does he do it?
Yeah, he's working. He's working for sure.
Yeah, he's out there, yo. He's out there in a good way.
Yeah, definitely for sure. All right, let's get into the flag on the play. So I have a couple flags. Let's just get right to it. First flag goes to me. You guys heard last week's episode. It sounded like we were talking in the hallway. I forgot to push a button, so the audio was off. DJ Avo was on his ones and twos, like he's going crazy with the drops. But
I heard that. I was like, "What the heck is going on?"
You know what? Like we talked about, it's like, "Hey, we got to re-record that," and I was like, "I gotta let that pain burn, like that way it's in my mind to check my settings." So. Flag on the play to me. I apologize. We forgot to push a button. So if you heard the episode live, you were good. If not, I'm sorry. So we promise we're on our shit going forward. So
come on, man.
Flag on the play.
Flag on the play.
All right. My next flag goes to the officiating crew of the Baylor UConn women's was that the Final Four? No, that was Elite Eight. Elite Eight. But there was in my opinion, a missed call. The young lady from Baylor literally went up for a shot, like literally game's winding down. She was fouled like twice on the same play. They didn't call it. Flag on the play. Like, I know it's UConn and we love Paige. Is it Buchers? Did I say her last name right? She's killing. Basically, the freshman that's like balling, like for UConn. But man, I feel like Baylor had a missed opportunity there. And granted, you don't put the game in the ref's hands, but that was an obvious foul. I don't know if you guys saw that, but
I ain't gonna lie, you know the NCAA wanted UConn to go forward. It's money sometimes, man, in politics.
But Baylor's a top program though, in terms of women's basketball. So.
Yeah, but they want to see Paige and what she can do going forward, being like one of the best freshmen to ever touch the college floor. They want her to keep on progressing. Yeah. So you know how that goes.
Casey, I don't know if you saw that. Especially you're in Texas, right?
Yes. I did not see it. God, I am so lame, man. I did not see it though.
It's bad. It's real bad. If you get a chance,
I'll have to go look at it. Yeah.
She literally got fouled twice on the same play. Like
she did,
smacked in the face and on her arm. Like obvious foul, no call.
Man.
All right, those are my flags. Anybody else has a flag?
I don't.
What about you, Casey?
No, I think everything's been pretty good. No flags here.
Yeah, I had a flag. It was going to be just Twitter going crazy, talking about Kyle Shanahan would be crazy if he took Mac Jones at 3, but that's not crazy. That's a man scouting who he wants, and if he doesn't think he was going to fall to him, you scoot up and get your guy.
Yeah, I'm all for that. Get your guy. I don't, hey, get your guy. You got to pick, spend it, get your guy. All right, Avo, you got a flag?
I do not.
All right, no one has a flag. Okay, well, before we get to this main topic, Casey, tell the wonderful people where they can follow you at.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at the Casey Kasem.
Hey.
Yeah, that's where you can follow me. That's where all my stuff is. I write with the fantasy footballers. You can find my podcast at getreal_pod. And yeah.
Cool. Make sure you guys check that out. Hopefully we get on the Get Real pod one day.
Yeah, that would be super awesome. For real.
Have some candid conversations.
Yes, sir.
I like candy.
Not candy, candid.
Bro, is that a fat joke?
Nah.
I think it was a fat joke.
I don't think it was.
So disrespectful.
It wasn't, bro.
I thought it was better than that.
We are better than that. Speaking of that, where can we follow you at?
Follow at I Like Candy at Twitter. Follow me at Dynasty Bro on Instagram and Twitter, and follow the main Instagram handle. That's Dynasty Bros FF. Hey, DJ Avo, where can they follow you at, brother?
You can follow me on the gram at Avo Love or at DJ Avo Love. Just type in Avo Love. You should find me. And on the Twitter, you can follow me at Dynasty Bro Avo. Let's go.
Avo was supposed to throw it to Vic. I threw it to Avo.
You didn't start with Vic?
Vic
Hey, Vic, where can we follow you at?
Follow me at Chief Sosa FF, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, Dynasty Bros FF. Join the Facebook community, Dynasty Bros FF Podcast, and give us some ratings. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know to make sure we push all of our buttons so our audio's good. So
you can tell who didn't pass the ball back in the day when we was playing basketball.
Yeah.
Shooter, baby. Shooter.
All right. So with that being said, let's get into these wide receiver prospects. Dot, walk us through, give us an overview.
All right, here's the overview. What we're going to do is I got 2 prospects, Vic got 2 prospects, Casey got 2 prospects. We chose not to talk about the Jalen Waddles, the Rondale Moores, the Devonta Smith, the Jamar Chases, the obvious guys. We don't care where they go in the NFL for the most part. We're pretty much sure they're going to be good NFL prospects. We wanted to tell you about the guys that maybe you're not sure about all the way. Maybe, their pro days kind of hyped them up or scaled them down, and you want to hear our opinion on it. So I know fantasy, these rookie drafts are coming up, and we've been preaching that, going into that second round, those second round picks are going to be good this year, the same way they were good last year. So just giving you some guys that maybe you need to tap into for your rookie drafts in that second round, third round area that you can put some trust in.
Yeah, and also, if we have comps, we'll give them. If we have NFL outlooks as far as where we think their draft capital will be, we'll share it. And we have fantasy outlooks, but we'll give that as well. So also keep in mind, I do want to share this. I know a couple of weeks ago I talked about I was in on guys, out on guys. When I say that, I'm just speaking from a do I want to invest rookie draft capital in these guys? So if I'm out on a guy, that doesn't mean 2 years later from now, if they are panning out, hey, I want in on that. So I just want to kind of give that frame of reference.
Hey, and we're not about to keep on doing that either, because at the end of the day, everybody should be open. If you watch a prospect and he's not what you want, and he goes to the NFL, start blowing up, you need to be smart enough to realize what you're seeing on film is working.
Yep.
You can't be the stubborn person that's like, I didn't like him all throughout college. I'm not going to like him no matter what he do in the NFL. And I'm not going to take the blame for saying, hey, I love this guy and he doesn't pan out. Things happen. That's what it is. Did you stop the music because it sounded like I'm preaching?
Nah, because we messed up. I wanted to say I would be dropping message behind all of that. So message behind all of that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Something like that. All right. So look, we got 6 guys. We're excited. Casey, we're going to let you lead off. Who do you want to talk about first?
I want to talk about Amari Rogers. So I will. Yeah, Amari Rogers with Clemson. He's a senior and, 5'9". So he's a smaller guy. He's 211 pounds. But I think that a team that is really in need of one of these guys that plays bigger than he really is, then that's going to be the type of guy that they're going to want to get. I mean, he has played running back before when he was in high school. You can use him out of the backfield. You can be creative with this guy. He's one of those guys that's just kind of like got the hybrid kind of thing to him. He's super fast, speedy, in general. And I liked, he did tear his ACL in 2019, but he came back from that and quicker than most people do. And it didn't seem to really hinder what he was doing. So I'm really interested in him. I like those type of guys. I really like the slot receiver guys, the smaller guys, and the fact, he's got a little bit more weight on him than the other guy I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but they're, the shorter wide receivers aren't always, the type of guy that you want to depend on, but I think this guy's got something special there.
Yeah, and of course, catching passes from a Trevor Lawrence,
yep.
He can catch from a pro-style quarterback because Trevor has some zip on his football. And like you said, he's a bigger guy for a slot position, so 5'10", 210 pounds. So he's built like a running back, but he plays wide receiver. That's almost a cheat code. He can definitely be leveraged like a Deebo Samuel. From what I saw on film, he's slippery. Usually he makes the first guy miss in terms of evading the tackles, and then he gets upfield. So I definitely like him as a prospect. I do have one concern, but it comes with the game. More times than often, there are a lot of drops. But
yeah, I was going to say that. I have that. Yeah, I was watching and I was like, oh, okay. I get what people were saying when they said about the drops.
But it's like he makes big enough plays. Like he'll house something.
It happens.
He'll drop something and then he'll catch something in traffic. So it's just like, man. So, all in all, I definitely like Amari.
All right. So what I'll say about these prospects is there's this draft is kind of all over the place when it comes to the build of all of these receivers. Yeah. You have like the top end guys like Jamar, he's the prototypical size. Then you have Devonta, is like everybody's nervous because he's so slender. And then you got a bunch of these guys that are 5'9", 5'10" that look like slot receivers and look like they could be running backs too. It's like you have to put your trust in what you see on the film, because you're not going to go out there and see a Randy Moss tall guy and a lot of these people. Yeah, you're going to see a 5'8" guy that deserves to be taken wherever the NFL takes him because he's a baller, and you're going to have to just trust the skill and what he can do on the field. So while we're talking about some of these guys that we're going to talk about today, there's some guys that we're not going to talk about, and they're not going to be the traditional put them on the outside receiver, but these guys can still get it done. So I just want to remind the listeners of that while we're going forward with all these guys.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to add to Amari?
I love him. I was about to say y'all touched on him, but we got a woman here, so I think I'm allowed to say that without it just being worse right now.
Yeah. All right, Dot. You next up then.
All right. I don't remember who I told you I was going to go with first. I think I said Tylan Wallace.
Yeah.
So let's go with Mr. Tylan Wallace, wide receiver out of Oklahoma State. Here's the thing: he's 6 foot 190. He looks slender, but that's 6 foot. That's cool. He looks like he has long arms. What I like about him is he's not the fastest guy on the field, but he has great acceleration. That's why he's a real good vertical threat. I think he can translate to be that in the league. He does have good speed when he's accelerating and changing direction on his routes, because you can tell that in his footwork and everything. And even though I said he's slender, I think he'll be great at catching the ball. He has strong hands. He can catch the ball like away from his body real well. And I think that matters. You know, you don't want to be the body catcher per se when you're not a good receiver. But I think that'll be good for him to be able to be that vertical threat that can catch the ball. He can track it real well. So I'm not going to say he's a one-trick pony, but, hey, Will Fuller came in being a deep threat, a guy that has strong hands that can catch. And I really like Tylan Wallace in that style of kind of player. And maybe he can grow into something different because he was the go-to guy for his team. They trusted him when they needed big plays. So, you know, as long as he can go into the league, get stronger and get bigger and not get out-muscled by these cornerbacks, he can be a good wide receiver for a team. So I like him. Back end of the second for me.
The rookie draft or
rookie draft.
Okay.
Back end of the second of a rookie draft. I don't think he'll ever be an alpha receiver, though. But he can go be a good wide receiver, too, in the NFL. And nothing's wrong with that.
From what I saw, he kind of reminded me, at least play style, like a Keenan Allen. I'm not saying he's going to be that. Of course, Keenan Allen's route running is crazy. He's way more polished than Tylan. Definitely want to see Tylan polish up his route running.
Yeah.
But it kind of felt like he does lean more of a possession wide receiver. But, of course, Oklahoma State had him at the Z, so that's the playmaker. So it's almost like they had their possession guy in the Z spot. So, you know, a lot of his catches were contested. And that was due to, in my opinion, not having that breakaway speed. So naturally, he's going to have more contested catch opportunities in that sense. But I mean, hey, he can catch the ball. He goes after it. So I definitely see him being a nice complementary piece to an offense in the league. So yeah,
I agree 100%. I mean, you know, that's another guy that tore his ACL. But I mean, just keep an eye. You know, he's had knee issues and stuff, but. I mean, you guys hit the nail on the head. So,
Hell yeah. All right, let's get into one of my guys. I gotta toggle between my notes, but let's go to USC wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown. This is another slot guy, 6'1", 195. Last year he actually had a 1,000-yard season. Of course, this year they played a shortened season, but he had 7 touchdowns, which is very promising. Man, these comps, like a lot of these schools make it easy to kind of compare these guys because they like a certain style of player. Like Alabama brings in certain pro style type wide receivers, like Jerry Jeudy and Devonta Smith and Amari Cooper. Like they just keep reloading. So for Amon-Ra St. Brown, he reminds me of a quicker Robert Woods, who also went to USC. What I liked about Amon-Ra St. Brown, he operates out of the slot, so he does a lot of his damage there. He's a physical wide receiver, so he's a solid 195. He uses his hands and he refuses to go down. He's always looking upfield. So literally, like if Dot's coming to tackle me, if I'm, St. Brown, my eyes already upfield trying to figure out how I'm going to evade the next guy. He's not even worried about the guy that's at my current level. He creates separation at the top of his routes. So he'll turn DBs around literally at the top just to create even more separation. And he has the ability to track the football. So I definitely like what he does out of the slot. Let's hit on some of his weaknesses from what I saw. He does hesitate a little bit when going over the middle, especially like on drag routes. So you can tell there's some discomfort there with wanting to hang out over the middle. I like to see him get upfield. Once you catch the ball over the middle, he kind of hesitates, kind of the field where the defense is at instead of just catching it and go. Ultimately, he lacks burst over the middle with that. And so I kind of just hit on all my notes in one spot and just make sure I hit on everything. But from a fantasy outlook standpoint, I have him as a wide receiver 4 coming in with wide receiver 3 upside. I think his ceiling is a wide receiver 2, like a Robert Woods. But of course, Robert Woods, he can hit and finish as a wide receiver 1. So definitely think you got to be patient with Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I definitely love his game.
I'll go. I really like the comp of Robert Woods, man. Not just for USC sake, but just in general, man. I think he's a good receiver, and I really enjoy watching them be a competitor, man. Like when they were down and they needed scores, they needed somebody to make a play. They're going to him, and I love the receiver that no matter what, I want to be the guy you go to. I want to be the one you throw the ball to, good or bad. It'll fall on my shoulders, and he had that kind of truth and trust in himself. So I really rock with him, man, and he's gonna be a hell of a competitor. And I really like the Robert Woods, just a good, solid receiver. And that's why we all love Robert Woods. He's not like going to be the A.J. Brown style receiver, but he's going out there and getting it done, man. And nothing's wrong with that in the NFL. He's lasted this long.
Yeah. And I like that comparison too. Like I wouldn't have even thought about it really until you said it, but yeah, it makes total sense. But yeah, like you guys were saying, having that security blanket, I think he's going to be really good for your fantasy rosters. Definitely somebody to keep on your radar.
Yeah, I see him going day 3 in the NFL draft, and in my rookie drafts, I'm looking to spend an early to mid second round pick if you need some wide receiver help. So, all right, Casey, you're back up. Who do you have next for us?
I have Elijah Moore next, wide receiver from Ole Miss. Big playmaker at 5'9". You know, he's another one of those little guys. He weighs less though. He's 185-ish. He's really good at separating himself from the defender. So he's another one of those guys that can make that separation. He's another one of those guys that's super fast. And he has good hands as well. And he can kind of just like go up and get the ball. Like his hand, the way he just brings it in, you can rely on him there. Another plus for him, for both the guys I talked about, is that they can be return specialists as well. So, I mean, I know that if there's teams out there that could really use that. So keep an eye on that as well. And it really helped him out with Ole Miss too, that Jamar Chase opted out, and then Rondell Moore was sidelined by the injury. He proved he could step up and fill a need real quick. And I mean, he had a great season last season. He only played 8 games, but 86 receptions for 1,193 yards is insane. And 10 or more targets in each of the games, except for one that he played in. I mean, it's just what he was able to do with 8 games is something that NFL teams should really pay attention to.
Yeah, and I know fantasy Twitter exploded with his 40 time coming out of his pro day. He's a slot wide receiver, nightmare mismatch. They even, they kind of run him like Tyreek when they bring him from in motion to run out of the backfield. So you kind of see some of that going. From what I saw, he's more quick than fast. He has good hands. He catches with his hands. He's always looking to create yak. So he gets the ball and gets upfield. He's not afraid to go over the middle. So that's very promising. Now let's talk about some of his weaknesses from what I saw. He's not really going to help you much in the run blocking game only because of his size. So especially on the outside, and he often, got jammed on the outside, but from a slot standpoint, huge mismatch. And for a guy like that, you often have to use him as a decoy. Mm-hmm. Like you're going to throw a fake screen to him just to open up to get that linebacker to flank out, which ultimately opens up the running back. So he can be used in that sense. So hopefully he lands with a squad where an offense coordinator can leverage him from that standpoint. Even if you can't really get hands on the guy, at least you can flank him out like you're going to throw the screen to him.
Yeah, I love everything you guys are talking about. And I echo Vic's concern. It's just going to a team that's going to utilize his strengths, man. I hate for, guys to be – I just literally talked to OG Mike about how I think the Raiders are just horribly using Henry Ruggs. And I'm like –
oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would hate for a team to take a guy like Elijah Moore, these guys like Rondell, and it's like you see what their strengths are. You went and drafted them. You scouted them and then drafted them, and then you chose not to use them with their strengths in the NFL. It's horrible. So long as a team trusts him enough to use his strengths, he's going to be great in the NFL at what he does. I swear he will be.
Yeah, and my comp, man, he actually reminded me a little bit of a Jamison Crowder. Of course, not
I love
fast as Elijah Moore, but the damage he does in the slot, I can see Elijah Moore taking on that role in the next, at least in the league. So his play style is similar, if you ask me.
I bet you Jamison Crowder wish he was that explosive.
Yeah,
Jamison Crowder is like one of my favorite guys ever. So I guess it kind of makes sense that I would be drawn to him. That makes sense.
Ever since I seen Crowder, he automatically looked like he was like 38 years old.
That's true. He came in old.
He does like the old man.
He took his helmet off. I said, God.
The Epsom salt. Cool. But all in all, I would definitely like some Elijah Moore. So.
I do too.
All right, Dot, you got next up for us?
Let's talk about a guy that he's really growing on me, man. So when you get to the second round of this rookie draft, it's like a plethora of receivers, and you kind of just got to pick who you like. All right, let's talk about Mr. Seth Williams from Auburn, man. This is starting to be one of my guys once you get past like the obvious elite guys. I'll say why. 6'3", 213 pounds. Just looking back to what we like in general, just his breakout age at 19, coming in his freshman season, just balling. I think he was averaging like 20 yards per catch, like coming in. I know that it came down a little bit, but I can't knock him for how his past couple of seasons been going because he's been playing with the worst quarterback, man. Like, God, like Bo Nix, it's trash. And then he's coming from an offensive system that does nothing but run the ball. I don't care how efficient it is. They're just going to keep running. I don't care how bad it looks. They're just going to keep on running. But as you watch, you got to really watch his film because since they didn't throw the ball so much, you got to go watch his specific plays, man. He's big. He has strong hands. He knows how to use his body. I like his awareness and the way he uses his body because he can maneuver to a point where he can only catch the ball. They throw a lot of back shoulder plays to him, and it just looks unstoppable sometimes because he's so goddamn big. He's great contested catches because he's 6'3", 215. What are you going to do with that? So I really enjoy watching him play. I didn't see a lot of explosiveness from him. I'm not going to say that, but he ran a 4.5. So, I don't know if the speed doesn't translate yet. I don't know if it's an effort thing. I'm really seeing lack of effort when he's playing. And I don't know if it's just because he's in that system. He just doesn't have it. He's so big. He should be better at pass blocking. That's an effort thing, too. It just looks like he's not trying sometimes. And I think he's burnt out on that team. I'm not giving him an excuse, but he shows he has what it takes to be an alpha receiver. He has the size. He has the speed at the 4.5. I think with the lack of effort he's shown sometimes, it just spoils the upside that he could truly have. But I still like him, man. I watch these plays, and I'm like, he looks unstoppable doing the simple alpha receiver thing. So that's why I like Seth Williams. And I think he's one of those guys that get a fire lit up under his ass, man. And, he could turn it around and be one of these great receivers going into the first year.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. Effort, that's been questionable when it came to Seth. But like you said, as far as the toolbox, all the traits are there for a guy with his size. So, yeah, hopefully he lands with the team, that'll light that fire, like you said. So, as of right now, he's on my radar. I don't know if I'm going to go get him just because of the effort. And when it comes to the NFL, I mean, GMs and coaches, they don't have time to coach you up on effort. Like,
True that.
I mean, their job too. So it's either you got it or you don't. So I see him getting an invite to camp, and you got to show that you want to be here, and that's what it comes down to. So hopefully Seth turns it on,
and hopefully he doesn't end up with a team that is, the same stuff that he's been used to, where he feels like we're not going anywhere, and this is just like a crap situation. Because if he already has those concerns, then I can just see it like getting even bigger if that happens in the NFL.
Yeah, and just to kind of tap into his psyche, maybe he comes from a winning program and he's not used to running that style of offense. And
maybe he used to just being targeted after target after target after target, and then you chose to go to that kind of offense. And Auburn has always been a running style offense for years since I've been watching them. So
yep,
it's on you.
All right, let's get into my next guy, Mr. Dynasty Brown. I mean, I'll be honest. I went to go watch Javonte Williams film. I went to go watch Carter film, and then I see Sam Howell. I'm like, okay, who's this guy catching the ball? So I got to pay attention to Dynasty Brown. He was a guy that was highly recruited. He actually had a chance to go to Alabama, so he literally could have been on that roster, probably playing behind Devonta and Waddle and Mechie. But it worked out for him at North Carolina. He had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Just to give you some stats on his size, he's 6'1", 185, a little bit on the slender side, but he's a playmaker. He can stretch the field. So some of his strengths, he's a vertical threat. I mean, he has ability to stack the DB, coming off the line. He excels on a vertical and post route, also on the slants. He's good with the double moves. So he likes to use the stutter step to create some separation. He has awareness to improvise and work back to the QB. So you see a lot of that on film. And he's also willing to go over the middle. Now let's talk about some of his weaknesses. He lacks physicality at the point of attack. So meaning once the DB gets hands on him, it's almost pretty much a wrap, especially in goal line situations. So that's going to be a concern for me. I want to see him get more effort in the run blocking game. basically his demeanor when it's a run play, his whole body language changes. It's like he's walking off the line. I'm sure you guys see it whenever there's a run play, some wide receivers walk off the line.
Yeah.
Like I can't stand that. It's like you're giving up the play. Like DBs, coaches see that all day long. Like match your effort on the pass play to the run play to keep the defense off guard. So also there were times where the QB had to scramble and he's looking back at the QB. Like you need to be looking upfield, getting the block for your QB. Like don't look at your QB. So those are some of my concerns. But all in all, he would fit into a vertical style offense that's going down the field. I have him as a day 3 guy, whether it's round 3 or round 4. And as far as fantasy, he's a stash for me with wide receiver 3 upside coming in.
Yeah, I think he is as well. I think that he can grow. He just needs to, like you said, you pointed out his flaws. I think that if he can take it to the next level in the NFL, a great stash. You can see him on one of those, wide receiver needy, like Lions or something like that, where, he'll have a chance to take over that third-ish role.
Yeah, that role that can stretch the field.
Talking about lack of effort. I mean, it went from one guy that I just talked about to Brown, and it's I think the only difference is in the lack of effort between Brown and Seth, which I just talked about, is Seth lack of effort comes with a 6'3", 215 size frame, so it's like his lack of effort can be like, well, at least I can look dominant. Things look easy sometimes. So sometimes you can get that misunderstood too. When things just look easy, it looks like it's lack of effort. But I do like Brown though, and I do think he has a route to being a starting receiver for a long time in the NFL. Just got to put it together. He got to act like he want to do it.
Yeah. All right, so those are the 6. Any other guys you guys want to throw out that you like, whether it's one of the bigger name guys or some other guys that's a little bit more off the radar? Casey, any other wide receivers you just want to throw out there?
No, what I really need to do is find time to like sit down and like really watch film and really because I know what type of player I like, but I don't know which of those players are the type of player that I like. So definitely, and paying attention to you guys and getting your information and taking notes.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. And I can say, I'll be honest, I'm still working through the class. I mean, there's so many players.
Yeah.
You don't want to miss. So, I'm still doing homework as we go. So these episodes definitely helping me. A guy I want to throw out, Terrace Marshall, wide receiver for LSU.
Terrace Marshall.
Terrace. Excuse me. Like Terrace Squad.
Terrace Squad?
Terrence.
Is it like Terrence?
Terrence without the N.
Terrace.
Oh, terrace. Like the terrace, like
Yeah.
a terrace? I don't know how you describe a terrace.
Yeah. It sounds like that. But I like this game. He's a guy that, caught the ball, get upfield. He has some pro style skill set. So definitely has room for some polishing, but I don't mind taking on a terrace in these drafts. So definitely like what I saw on film. All right, Dad, anybody else you want to throw out there? I know you originally studied a guy and then you pivoted so he actually had a big name guy and then he saw our name and he pivoted to
Well, to be honest, Casey, I don't know if Vic remembers the original conversation we had. I picked Elijah Moore, and I was like, yeah, but just ask Casey what 2 people she wanted.
Oh, yeah.
So you picked Elijah, and I was like, all right, I'll go Bateman. Then I was like, nah, we're not going to pick these obvious guys. I see Bateman rising up, draft boards more and more. I'm not going to say where he's at in my rankings anymore now because I don't want to be controversial.
I'm trying to get Bateman in the middle or late of the first round. Pro style wide receiver. I think he should be a round 2 in the NFL draft. Like he should be a day 2 guy.
He's gonna be so good.
So good, bro. I'm excited.
I as much as I like him, I don't think I want to take him as I've been studying the draft more and more. I don't think I want to take him over the top 3 running backs because running backs are so scarce when it looks at the rookie draft this year, and it's so many receivers that just start getting clumped together. So, but right after that's my battle right now is Devonta Smith and Bateman, honestly, in real life.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because my heart wants me to say Bateman is my number 2 receiver, but I still haven't did it yet. But my heart is like playing tricks with me like this. It's like Smith Bateman. It's doing that to me.
Yeah. And it kind of feels like Bateman's a pro style wide receiver. Like,
That's why.
I'll be honest. I missed out on a lot of Justin Jefferson going after all these other guys like Ruggs and you know what I mean. Like if I would have went with the pro style,
She fell out.
Okay, but yeah, going back to Casey's point, like she mentioned she has a certain type of wide receiver that she's going after. I'm leaning pro style, so give me a Bateman over Waddle. That's just me. Like I want a pro style wide receiver.
Yeah,
that's big, physical, catch the ball, that can break. Like that's what I'm going for. So we just did a trade for the 101 and 106, all this other stuff. I gave you AJ Brown. I'm hoping to bounce back with a Bateman at the 109. So that's kind of my game plan, or Kyle Pitts.
Nigga.
Yeah.
Dang, she got to come back because we about to get into the close, and I really want to give her a chance to do her close.
Yeah. DJ Avo, who you got, man?
That's good, man.
You been watching these wide receivers?
No.
Talk about Jamar Chase, Avo.
Listen, Jamar Chase, he's a hell of a guy. I met him once.
What about football, though?
Football, yeah.
What about Devonta Smith?
Goalpost, running back for a good team.
I'm so glad you came back because we're about to get into the closing, and we really need you here for the closing.
Listen, I'm so very sorry. I got this computer back after 3 months, and it decided it wanted to restart, and I was like, "No, you can't do that." But then I don't know what it did.
Well,
I feel your pain.
Glad you were able to come back. So yeah, I was
Thank you
about how you mentioned you have your types that you're going after. So I mentioned my type with the wide receiver. I'm going after pro style wide receiver. So I missed out on Justin Jefferson a lot last year.
Mm-hmm.
Going after guys like Ruggs. So for me, a Bateman fits like that pro style wide receiver model. So that's my type. I rather have a Bateman over a Waddle. That's just me. Waddle's talented, but give me a pro style like Bateman.
Me too. All right. So look, Casey.
Yo.
We're going to get into the closing. We like to call this "Say Something Good to the People." And what we do is we all get the stage. We all get the chance to say something that's been sitting on our mind, maybe something going on in America, whether it's good or bad, something that's been weighing on you, but just a way to inform, educate, let the listeners know something that they didn't know before we went out. So that's what we're going to do, man. And when we have a guest on, we usually like to let one of us start, or maybe all of us. Just let the guests get comfortable.
For sure.
Get a chance to think about something they would like to touch on. So that's what we're going to do. Y'all ready for that?
Yeah, we're ready.
Y'all want to play paper, rock, scissors? Who's going to play? Yeah, I look straight.
I'll let y'all play, man. Y'all just tell me when to go.
Paper, rock, scissors. I thought it was rock, paper, scissors, shoot. See, the cadence is throwing me
bro,
off.
it don't matter. You in with shoot.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
See, that's why it threw me off. Fuck that cadence. All right, you go first.
It don't matter.
See, it's like he won the coin toss. Then he deferred.
Vic, go first.
All right. So linking up, recording a podcast. These are like my real life friends. Like these are my bros. So, but we be in work grind mode. So I want to genuinely take a step back, ask my guy DJ Avo, bro, as a friend, how are you doing? Like, is there anything I can do for you? Are you good? Like, I want to put work aside and just make sure our friendship foundation, our brotherhood foundation is good. So from a mental standpoint, even if there's something you're going through that you want to share here, I just want to make sure you're good. Just do a mental health check.
That's love. No, I'm not doing good, but I'm making it.
Hey, well, we're gonna talk offline. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna hit you up and talk to you offline.
It's real shit.
I want to pass the same question to you, Doc. Again, like we've been in work mode, grind mode, going on 2 years. Like podcast aside, work aside, you're my brother, you're my friend. I love you. Mental health check.
We probably need a conversation outside the podcast too.
Oh man,
real shit. Real
all
life
right.
going on.
And we got Casey. We have a new friend of the show, Casey. Podcast aside, I know we on Twitter. We grinding. Mental health check. How are you doing? Like, what's your state? Are you good?
Better this week than I was last week. So I definitely will reach out to you when I need it.
Right,
that's
cool.
a positive note.
Yeah.
Right there.
Hey, well, for me, I just wanted to just show like we're all up here. We do what we do, but it's good to take a step back and take a deep breath. So I'm serious. I definitely want to hit you guys up offline and just make sure you guys are good. And if I can help in any kind of way, I definitely want to be a friend first. So yeah, I just want to extend that invite. So
All right, I'm going next, and I want to say this before I say mine. Vic, since then nobody get to ask you, how you doing, brother? You good? And I'm sure we'll talk about it because I
Yeah.
do need to talk about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm maintaining.
All right, bet. Self health is important. Self care is important. This is what I will say. It's okay to work on yourself. It's okay to take time for yourself and ignore the outside things. Get away from people. Take a break from work. Take a break and release and have some time for yourself. And don't let anybody make you feel bad about it. Um, that's what I want to say. Because now that I've been working on, my mental and my physical, I had moments where I felt bad, where it's like, damn, I still need to check on my friends. Damn, family gotta make sure they good. But at the end of the day, ain't nobody in your heart gonna really be able to be all right if you ain't all right. So make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you doctor's appointments, checking on that. Make sure you talk to somebody, therapist, best friend, anybody. Just don't hold that shit in, and just take care of yourself while we still young and we got the chance to change shit. Because if somebody tell me one more time, damn, bro, you only 31 dealing with blood pressure issues,
Yeah.
I'll say, yeah, that's on me because I wasn't taking care of myself, but I'm taking the steps to work on that shit. So I want everybody to start taking care of themselves now so they can get ahead of it so they don't have to deal with the BS. So self-care is important. Do that shit ASAP.
That's real. And everything we just mentioned, check on your family too in that same sense. So I definitely want to again talk with you guys and also extend that to the family. You just never know what your family and close friends are going through. All right, DJ Avo, you up next, and then we'll go with Casey, and then Avo, you'll walk us out.
I got you. So look, I was gonna tell everybody before y'all said all those nice things. I finally got to go back to therapy today. It's been a month. I just encourage everybody still to keep going back. I feel so much better just from going. So I just encourage everybody to find somebody to talk to, even if it's not a therapist, if it's your preacher, your priest, whoever it is. I just encourage that because you never know how much you need it. And definitely call your friends, because I had a friend call me earlier this week and pull me out of a real moment I was in. And that was just much appreciated. He didn't even know I was going through it. So just do that. Just do that. Don't be afraid to reach out to your friends also.
True that.
Good word.
All right, I know that was real heavy, Casey. You do not have to stay in that wavelength if you
I
have.
kind of want to.
Oh, that's perfect. Hey, you got the stage. Say whatever you need to.
All right. Yeah, so for me, I want to say that a lot of us in this creative space that we're in right now, with whether it be writing or podcasting, YouTube videos, or whatever we choose to put out there, sometimes you can spread yourself too thin. Sometimes you can have way too much on your plate. And I see it all the time, people getting burnt out, including myself. And you see it all the time where people are like, I'm on 12 podcasts today. I'll be on 24 tomorrow. I've got 16 articles coming out today. Plus, I'm in this many leagues and I commission half of them. Okay. Sometimes, like you guys were saying, you just need to take a break and kind of like breathe, And it sounds simple. It's not, because I want to constantly be doing things, but at the same time, like, I stress myself out being that busy bee that's constantly going. Can't do it. Take a break. I mean, mental health days are so important. I found that out just working from home this year. I was so much, or last year, I felt so much better because I wasn't so stressed out constantly with work. I was working, but I was working in an environment that I felt comfortable being in. It was nice. It was my house. If you're stressed out and you feel like, oh my gosh, but I want to get doing this podcast that I've been doing, where I talk to the different people in the industry. I mean, everybody has the same stories about getting burned out and how you got to kind of like evaluate what's important to you and what's not important to you. If you have a family and you feel like you're not spending enough time with your family because you're too engrossed in whatever fantasy football stuff you're doing, then you need to maybe take a look at things and stuff. But do know that that burnout is real. We all experience it. If you want to talk to me as well, like, I am more than happy to talk to whoever wants to about burnout. Like, take a break, get off social media, go. Social media is so awesome, but at the same time, so venomous. And so, you're seeing a lot of people coming at other people lately, and people coming up with fake profile. I mean, I'm 37 years old. I ain't got time for any of that bullshit. So, but yeah, just don't let that stuff stress you out. Just kind of like take some self-care time. Yeah. Take a nice breather.
And if you don't know, she was talking about you, Mr. Kevin Durant.
I was gonna take a nap. Take a nap from time to time. Naps solve everything.
Oh man.
But I love what you just touched on, man. And it's okay to just say no sometimes.
Yeah.
Man. Say no. So, man, I love it. Sometimes we jump the gun and we're just completely honest. We're ourselves and we can't help it. And I hope we never make a guest uncomfortable with our honesty about life when we come to this segment. And I appreciate you just going out there being honest. And I'm sure there's somebody's male, female, black, white, anybody that probably needs to hear that because you know, life gets real, man, and you never know. Somebody don't know how to say no. I didn't know how to say no back in the day, and it's just something that I'm learning to do now.
I still don't. Like last week, I was having such a crappy day, and I interviewed Mike Wright and Pat Mayo on the same day, and it was that day I felt like crap. So it was like, it just puts a damper on what you're doing. You're trying to have fun with what you're doing, so.
I'm not gonna lie. Now I feel bad that we made her stay on this podcast.
No. I wanted to come on your podcast. I've told people, nah, not right now. But I specifically told him that I'm a fan of you guys, and I wanted to come on.
We definitely appreciate that. We're a fan of you. Thanks for sharing that word with us. Before we get out of here, tell the people where they can follow you at again.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at @DKCKasem and my podcast Get Real at GetReal_pod.
Nice. Be sure to follow. All right, and with that being said, it's been another Dynasty Bros episode. Thanks for listening. Hopefully, we helped you out with your rookie drafts and the NFL draft. We're all excited. DJ Avo, can you walk us out?
Wait, I want to say something. All right, I said something. DJ Avo,
I gotta change that energy real quick. Let's go. Got to throw that money, man. Turn me up a little bit, Doc. Turn that music up for me. Hey, everybody, be good. We'll be back.
Too loud.
We'll be back next Tuesday. We'll be back after that. Then the Tuesday after that. Make sure you check us out.